He said these 7 people are just like Septa Salyani, or Salyani means a spear. 7 spears in the heart. The first is Nripo Nahari Sevita. Someone's a Nripa, king, but he doesn't serve Krishna. The second is someone who has all kinds of money, but he doesn't offer anything. Vyaya Kriti Naharyapraka. He doesn't offer anything to the Lord. The third is Kavir Nahari Varnaka, a poet. He's a great poet, but he doesn't use his skills to glorify Krishna. The fourth is Shrita Guru Naharashrita. Someone who's taking shelter of Gurudev, but not taking shelter of Krishna. The fifth is Guni Nahari Tatpara. Someone who has good qualities, but they're not interested in serving the Lord. The sixth is Sarasa Dir Na Krishna Ashraya. Someone who has good intelligence, but they don't surrender to Krishna. The seventh is the same person even. Sana Braja Ramanuga Swadridi. It's the same person. He may surrender, but he doesn't become a follower of the gopis of Vrindavan. So the fourth category of painful persons is Shrita Guru Na Harashrita. Someone who takes shelter of Gurudev, but they don't take shelter of Krishna. It goes both ways. Sometimes you have people who take shelter of Krishna, but they don't take shelter of Guru. We spoke about that. But there's also devotees who take shelter of Gurudev, but they don't seemingly take shelter of him, but they don't worship Krishna. Tate Krishna Bhaje Kore Guru Sevan. My Guru Seva means that I'm worshiping Krishna. Now, especially in this festival of the Holy Name, I think I can say with confidence that we've all, I hope, gotten some happiness by sharing Krishna with other persons. And we know sometimes we may go out in the street, we distribute books or something, and how much pleasure it gives us when someone comes and says, man, this is amazing, you know, what should I do? And you maybe give them a little card and you say, see this mantra? You chant this right after me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the person says, wow, yeah, that's great. And they start chanting. How much happiness do you feel? Now try to imagine how much happiness Srila Prabhupada feels. How much happiness an exalted devotee feels when he sees someone chanting Hare Krishna. He's happy when someone does any kind of service. There's a story here in Jagannath Puri. There was one great devotee, his name was Madhav. And he went begging door to door as a daily practice. And one day he went to some old lady's door and he said, Bo Mata Bhagavati Bhikshan Dehi, please give us some charity. And the old lady was a cranky old lady, angry person. She took a rag and threw it at him and hit him in the face with this rag. It was a dirty cleaning rag. And he took the rag and said, oh, thank you very much. You're such a kind person. And he was happy. She gave something. She gave a donation. So he took that rag and he washed it and dried it. And then he cut it into pieces and he made ghee wicks out of that rag, soaked them in ghee, and he used that as a lamp to offer to the Lord. And it said that when that lamp was being lit, also her heart became illuminated. And the next day, when he went back to her home, she had a completely different change of consciousness. So the devotee is happy no matter what someone offers, even if they throw a dirty rag in their face. They're offering something. But what to speak when we chant the holy name? Someone may say that well, how is it that Srila Prabhupada was giving people the Hare Krishna mantra or telling them to chant Hare Krishna before initiation? Well, there's an important verse in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita of Rupa Goswami. It's the 4th verse there. It's part of his Mangala Charan. I've noted many, many different Vaishnavas quote this verse. Sri Chaitanya Mukod Gina Hare Krishna Tivanaka Majayanta Jagat Premi Vijayanta Tadavaya. He says that all glories to that Hare Krishna mantra, which emanated, the syllables emanated from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave this mantra to everyone in the whole world. So in that sense, it's not required to be gotten from Guru. because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave it to the whole world. But what is the mystery then, the first initiation? It means being accepted by Gurudev. It means accepting that chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra as a service to Gurudev. And that's quite a different thing. It's also significant, the words mukudgirna in this verse. There's two words. In Sanskrit, we say mukudgirna, and there's a similar word in Bengali, udgar. Udgara means to vomit. And mukudgirna has the same meaning, means to vomit. Mukudgirna also means to erupt, just like a volcano explodes. In the language of my dear friend Vaisheshika Prabhu, he says that what is our preaching? Our preaching is like filling a glass with milk. And when the milk fills the glass and it starts overflowing, that overflow, that's our preaching. So my Guru Maharaj commented on this thing, and he said that udgara means to vomit. And there's a tattva about that. I'll speak a little bit about vomit tattva. If there's any young boys listening, I'm sure they'll be entertained by that. Young boys like that kind of subject. There's a whole subject about this. How do you know what someone's been eating? Well, you can tell when they vomit, right? You can tell by the smell and by the look of things. And when do you vomit? When your stomach is completely full. So whatever you're eating, that thing will come out. So if we're eating, if we're chewing on the holy names, if we're hearing the holy names and filling our hearts and our stomachs with the holy names, when we become full of that, then when we begin to vomit, what comes out is the holy names. And this is our service to Gurudev. We first hear that mantra from Gurudev, and then we chant that mantra as service. Therefore, the Vamana Kalpa is a verse which is quoted in Bhakti Sandarbha and in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Lord Brahma, he says, Yo manta saguru sakshat, yo guru sahari swayam. That you should understand that the mantra you're chanting, that's non-different from your Gurudev. When we're chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, that's non-different from Srila Prabhupada, from our Gurudev, the Guru who's given us that mantra. In Rupa Goswami's Pajavali, he says a very interesting thing. Atagoroshi padadvanva bhaktim. That by chanting the holy name, you get bhakti to your Gurudev. And then from bhakti to your Gurudev, you'll get bhakti to the holy name. The two go hand in hand. We can't separate Gurudev from the holy name. And although sometimes devotees, they may think that just having this Harinam initiation, this is inferior to Diksha, that's not the version of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. There's a story that once at the Bagh Bazar temple, the temple president or the organizer had made a system that when the devotees sit down to take prasadam, all the Dikshit devotees, the ones who had second initiation, they would get prasadam first. And those devotees who only had Harinam, they would get prasadam afterwards because the Brahmin devotees are better, right? Than the Harinam Ashraya devotees, right? And when he saw that, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, this is wrong. He said the devotees who have Dikshit, who have second initiation, actually they're inferior. How is this? He said they're inferior to the persons who are Harinam Ashraya, who are taking shelter of the holy name. And they were thinking just the opposite. They were thinking that the Dikshit devotees were superior. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said that those who are Dikshit, they may not have firm faith in the holy name. They may not understand that Nama, Nami, Abhina, the name and the name and the name, Krishna, are non-different. And for them, Archana, deity worship is required. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta quoted a number of verses, how important it is to chant the holy names. And even if someone doesn't have initiation, if they simply chant the holy names, that can give everything. I'll just sing one of these verses and you can chant Hare Krishna in response. This is our system. Prabhu Boli Kahilana E Mahamantra Iha Japa Giya Korya Nirbanda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Iha hoite sarva siddhi hoibe sabhai. Sarvakshana bolo ite bidi nahi ar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mahaprabhu spoke this, and he said, Kahilana e Maha Mantra. You regularly chant this Hare Krishna mantra. Iha japa, Giya Koriya Nirbandha. By doing this, you'll get everything. Iha hoiti sarva siddhi, you get all perfection. Sarvakshana bolo, you chant anytime. Iti vidi nahi ar. There's no rules for that chanting. The chanting is everything. So then someone may ask another question. They may say, well, then why do we have second initiation? We don't absolutely need that. Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, gave a very interesting answer to that. He said that this Gayatri mantra, we chant that, and it helps us to come closer to the holy name. It helps our consciousness to become more subtle. We come to that Gayatri mantra by the strength of the chanting of the holy name. And then we chant the Gayatri mantra, and it gives us a deeper connection with the holy name, which gives us a deeper connection with Gayatri, which gives us a deeper connection again with the holy name. The two are in cause and effect. You can't separate them. Just as Sadhu Sangha Krishna Nam Ematra Chai, Jagadananda Pandit in Prema Vivarta makes this very bold statement. He says, there's only two things that I require, Sadhu Sangha Krishna Nam. And they go in this order. First, I have Sadhu Sangha. And from Sadhu Sangha, then I learn about the holy name. I get faith in chanting, and I start chanting. And then what happens from that chanting? You learn who's really a sadhu. You go deeper. Your consciousness becomes more purified. And then you get deeper Sadhu Sangha. From that deeper Sadhu Sangha, what do you get? You get deeper holy name. In association with the devotees, when you've gone deeper and your consciousness is more subtle, you can more deeply appreciate the holy name. And then from that deeper appreciation of the holy name, what do you get? Deeper Sadhu Sangha, which again gives you even deeper holy name. And the two go in hand. We don't separate the two. But for us, Srila Prabhupada, he also commented, he said that second initiation is not necessary. It's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Diksha Purushara Vidi Apeksha Nakori, that the holy name doesn't depend upon Diksha or Purushcharya. Just you chant the holy names. That's all that's required. But we take initiation because we don't only want Nam, we don't only want Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, which are Kaitava Chatustoya, 4 types of cheating. But we want Panchama Purushartha. We want the 5th and highest goal of life, which is Krishna Prem. And therefore, we read in the Bhagavatam, in the 6th canto, there's a verse which describes how the holy name is chanted in every yuga. It's chanted in Satya Yuga. But then why don't people take it up very seriously? They don't see it as very important. In other yugas, they think fire sacrifices are more important, deity worship is more important. They see like that. It's only in Kali Yuga we're so fortunate we've been told about the holy name and how important it is. The holy name is given so many different times, but not everyone can appreciate it. And therefore, we have to come in contact with a sadhu. And we have to hear Krishna Katha. These 2 things are required. Krishna Kirtan and Krishna Katha. We don't have one without the other. The 2 go hand in hand together. So I want to stop there and give some time for the devotees. If there's anyone who has any reflections or comments, questions, or anything, this would be a good time for that. And it's very inspiring for me. It means not everybody fell asleep during our little talk. I'm sorry we quoted so many verses and things. My Guru Maharaj once said to the devotees, his disciples, he said, if you can't quote Shastra, don't tell them you're my disciple. Because it's such an important thing. Narottam Das Thakur, he says that Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. These 3 things are required, Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. And the first thing is Sadhu. But what is Sadhu? Sadhu is someone who teaches us Shastra. And that person then becomes a Guru. But Shastra is the basic principle between both. So many things are there. I I want to thank again the devotees for having this program. And again, if anybody has any reflections or comments or anything, I'd be very appreciative to hear whatever you have to comment.
Well, I'm 100% sure, Prabhuji, there are so many devotees who have a lot of questions to ask. And, you know, staying in this material world, which is a quagmire of imbroglios and so many quandaries that we have, I request all the devotees who have the questions can definitely put it into the chat section so that we can get your questions. Just in case if we are unable to take it right now, we will park it for the end of the session. And I would also request all the devotees to put on their camera. That really helps us to connect with you, everyone. And as Prabhuji just mentioned right away, that deeper association gives you the deeper holy name. And the deeper association definitely means by Krishna Katha and by the Krishna Kirtan. The deeper association in the virtual world would also mean for you guys, for all the devotees there, to have their faces as well, so that there is some kind of an association. For me, Prabhuji, the takeaway for this session was definitely amazing. And I would remember your conversation at Vancouver, because I'm traveling to Vancouver next month. And I would go there and I would remember that when you were telling that what is a differentiation between devotees who get initiated and chant the holy names and the devotees who are not initiated and they chant the holy names. And I hope and I pray with your mercy, with your blessings, that I get to chant the wonderful holy names. And devotees, are there any questions here so that I can quickly take those questions or we can park it for the end of the session? So as we see it here, or I believe I should be taking for the end of the session, because we have a very limited time that we are running this program, and we should be, again, with my humble obeisance to you, Prabhuji, thank you so much for giving us this amazing opportunity. And like you were mentioning that you have been into Jagannath Puri and then how you've been serving. So it's so nice to hear from you. And thank you so much for these wonderful words. And starting this session, the second day of the World Holy Name, on such a powerful note. That is definitely a blessing to all of us. So thank you very much once again for being with us. On this note, I move on to the second session. And with the second session, I have, like Prabhuji just ended it by saying, that deeper association means the deeper holy names. And he also mentioned two things. One, of course, he mentioned was the Krishna Katha, and the second was Krishna Kirtan. Since he was mentioning about the Krishna Kirtan, we have a second session that's called Srila Prabhupada on Kirtan. That is, what was Srila Prabhupada's take on Kirtan? What did he feel about it? What did he say about it? And we have two wonderful devotees who are going to share about those Kirtan things with us. And who are those people? So first, of course, we have His Grace Parasurama Prabhu with us. Now, a little background about Parasurama Prabhu, that he runs Food for All Center in London. But I am highly fascinated to be talking about his background. Give me a moment to talk about it. Now, his story of joining the Hare Krishna movement joined a long time back. He was born in a pure Catholic family. One day in 1983, when he was just 18 years old, just a teenager, he seriously prayed to Virgin Mary to reveal to him the absolute truth. While praying this way, something extraordinarily happened, that the statue of the Virgin Mary lit up the room with her effulgence. His Grace Parasurama Prabhu felt both shock and hope at the moment.
Hare Prabhu, I don't know.
Sorry, Hare Prabhu, you're on mute. And apologies for any interruption. We actually have another 15 more minutes with Madhavananda Prabhu. So the next session will start at 6 o'clock Indian time. I'm sorry, I think your introduction got interrupted a little bit. Apologies for that. So actually, forgive me, Hare Prabhu. So in case devotees on the session have any questions, they can actually even raise their hands and we can take the questions now. And if there aren't any questions for the time being, then perhaps we could request Madhavananda Prabhu to share some more nectar because the nectar that's been flowing, it's so beautiful. And the more that we hear, it's definitely going to benefit us in many more ways. That's a humble request. Thank you. Yes.
The devotees asked me to say something about japa. And I have to tell you honestly, I'm not real enthusiastic about speaking about japa, at least in public. Because according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, Gopaya Nija Malikam, he said there that you should hide your mala. You shouldn't speak about your personal japa. That's a very, very personal, private thing. But devotees do that. We'll be hearing sometimes from Mahatma Prabhu in some of these sessions, and Satchidananda Maharaj and others who've been so kind to do wonderful japa retreats, some of which I've attended and which have been so very helpful for us. They do that to help general devotees. But this japa is really something between the guru and the disciple. So Krishna Maharaj once commented that your chanting of your japa is the connection between the guru and the disciple. Another example is given, I've heard some Vaishnavas, that just as a baby is nourished in the womb by the mother and fed by the mother through a connection we know as the umbilical cord. So also the disciple has an umbilical cord which connects he or she to Gurudev. And this is that umbilical cord. That's our japa mala. And so when we chant, we're connecting with our Gurudev and we're performing it as a yajna for the pleasure of our Gurudev and for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, some Vaishnavas, they chant a mantra before they japa. They say, Nama Yagya Maha Yagya Kolokama Sanasanam Krishna Chaitanya Prityate Nama Yagya Samarpanam. It's a Samarpana mantra, or a mantra used to offer our japa. It's because this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he came to establish this Nam Yagya. And part of the Nam Yagya is this japa. And so we're chanting japa as an offering to him. We're chanting japa as an offering to our Gurudev. And this is a very, very important difference between Gaudiya Vaishnavism and other brands of Hinduism or other branches even of other types of Vaishnavism. In Gaudiya Vaishnavism, devotees have some understanding of the conception of the desire of the Lord. And as we hopefully learned a few days ago in Radhastami, this is one of our greatest contributions, understand the conception, the desire of Krishna. But even more confidential, we understand the conception, the mood of Srimati Radharani, and the conception and the mood of her followers. And therefore, what is that mood? Nikunja Yunarati Keli Siddhyai. We sing every morning as part of the Guru Vashtaka prayers. The Gurudev, he's very expert in arranging the affairs of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada, in Hawaii one year, he told Rameshwar Prabhu, he said that this means preaching. This is the activities of the Vaishnava. He's bringing Radha and Krishna together. He's bringing different jivas together with Krishna through the holy name. So we chant that holy name as a yajna for the pleasure of Gurudev. And Gurudev's coming, he's doing this yajna on behalf of his guru, who is doing it on behalf of his guru. And this is a kirtan of our sampradaya. And we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We don't chant Radhe Radhe. Perhaps we did on Radhastami. That was very blissful. And sometimes we chant the name of our Gurudev. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavat, he says that Jari Sneha Prit Jari. He said that if you love me, then you love my instructions. Jari ama prati sneha taki sabakar tabi Krishna vyakti rikta nagai bihar. If you love me, you love my instructions. Don't chant my name. He says, chant Krishna's name. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani, she doesn't tell the gopis that I want you to chant my name. If the gopis come to the kunj to worship Radha and they're chanting Radhe, 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 Radharani doesn't appreciate that. She says, what are you doing making all this noise? Stop that. You should chant Krishna, Krishna. Radharani wants to hear the names of Krishna. And so Gurudev is coming in that disciplic succession of when Krishna himself comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand the mood of Radharani. He's not primarily chanting the name of Radha either. He's primarily chanting the name of Krishna because he's in the mood of Radha. And he's engaging his associates in that kirtan, who are engaging their associates, who are engaging their associates. And this is a kirtan of our sampradaya going on to this day. But it's a very confidential thing. And there are many, many confidential things about our japa mala, about how we chant. It's a connection between us and our Gurudev. I can say one little practical thing that I would recommend for Vaishnavas. And that is when you chant with your Gurudev. Those devotees who, like Jamuna, she used to chant japa sometimes with Srila Prabhupada. And she felt so very, very blessed being able to do that. What a great blessing. And to get some sense of that, to remind us of Srila Prabhupada, we play Prabhupada's japa recording sometimes, or we chant our japa, or we sit in front of our Gurudev. And we do that not because we're trying to meditate on our Gurudev. Srila Prabhupada said that when we chant, you just focus on the holy name. But I'm doing it because this is my offering to my Gurudev. And when we chant, we begin by offering prayers to our Gurudev, and then prayers to the Panchatattva. And then we offer sometimes prayers to the holy name. And then we chant the Hare Krishna mantra after all that, because we're offering this Nama Yagya Mahayagya. This Nam Yagya is a Mahayagya. This is the greatest Yagya. Kalokalmasanasanam. This will destroy all the evils of Kali Yuga. Krishna Chaitanya Prityarte. We're doing it because it's very pleasing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nami Yagya Samarpana. I'm offering this Yagya in this way to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I think I should stop there. I don't want to take more time. I'm also really eager to hear about the introduction of Parasurama Prabhu. Parasurama Prabhu, I can say this about Parasurama Prabhu. One thing that I so much appreciate about him is I always see him on Harinam. Parasurama Prabhu is a deep lover of Harinam and a deep promoter of Harinam. I'm sure that Vallabha Prabhu is going to say that, probably is angry with me now. I'm taking away some of his points. Please forgive me, Prabhuji. Anyway, I want to thank everybody very much for hearing a little something about the holy name from us. I'd like to invite everybody, next time you come to India, I don't know what's happening with the coronavirus thing, but next time you come to India, please come and visit us here in Jagannath Puri. We like to take people, devotees on Parikrama, and do kirtan and have harikatha and darshan and prasadam with them. It's a very wonderful experience here in the Dham. So thank you very much again to all the organizers for this program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. In fact, there is one question.
Thank you.
If you would like to take that up, maybe.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple minutes.
Yeah. Vallabhari Prabhu,
Yes.
do you have the question?
Yes, I can take that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, once again. And, on the final note, when Prabhuji is inviting us to the Jagannath Puri, sitting here in the Western world and getting that invitation to the Jagannath Puri is all glories to the devotees, all glories to Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful, lecture again. And as the last, I'm so thankful to Govind Charan Prabhu to make me realize about the timing. And I think I was running away with the timing because sitting in a different time zone. But as Prabhuji mentioned, I was taking out my chanting beads and every time I just prayed to you that every time when I chant, I would just hope and would want to remember that this is an umbilical cord between me and my Guru Maharaj. And if I can just remember it, probably I will be able to chant it with some sincerity and be able to do something better. And on the same note, we have a question that has come by Bhumika, and she is asking this question that how to get more focused in chanting, how to get deeper in chanting.
Well, would you tell a young boy who's in love with a girl, would you tell him, how can you get more absorbed in the girl? Nobody tells a young boy like that. He doesn't have to get more absorbed in the girl. He's already so attached because that affection is there. So where affection is, the attention automatically follows. That attention is the key principle in all of our relationships. And that's why so many married couples, they become frustrated. You don't listen to me anymore. You should pay attention to your wife. You should pay attention to the holy name. So if we're doing, just as Vallabha Prabhu pointed out, if we're chanting as a service to our Gurudev, then we're realizing the presence of our Gurudev, and automatically affection should be there. Some love, I'm doing this for my Gurudev. Where honestly speaking, even if I do this for Krishna, it's very theoretical. I read about him in Krishna book. Yeah, I saw the deity in the temple. That's nice. You know, I saw Prabhupada crying on video, but that's not me. It's all theoretical for me. But I know my Gurudev. I have some loving relationship with my Gurudev. He accepted me. He's so affectionate to me. And I'm doing this for his pleasure. So if we chant with that mood, then affection is automatically there. And then when affection is there, then automatically the mind will go there. And attention will be there. I hope that's an okay answer. A nice question. Thank you.
Do we have more questions there so that I can quickly take if there are any other questions, or we can move to our next speaker? I think let's move to the next speaker there because there might be more questions, but we would want to also park it at the end of the session so that we can allocate the time very accordingly. So thank you once again, Prabhuji, for that wonderful, powerful note start. Like we said, the good start is an amazing, amazing beginning, and that's what we had today. And thank you very much. We will definitely cherish each and every word that you mentioned today. And as he already gave a beautiful introduction about the next speaker, that he always absorbed in the holy name, and he's here to talk about the holy names. I gave his introduction before, but it gives me again a delightful pleasure to
Oops, looks like we've lost Vallabhari Prabhu.
absorbed in looking at the young girl. So that's happened at the teenage. But what was happening? Yes, yes, can you hear me? Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you, Vallabhari Prabhu, and we can hear Parasurama Prabhu also.
Krishna. So the body's singing now, that's Ravidas. And he was during Soviet time in Czechoslovakia, just reading so many books. He's also one of the team
Well, as all of us can see right now, that Prabhuji is live from Britain, UK and Rath Yatra. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us the live darshan of the Rath Yatra.
Keep going. All right? Okay. So, along with the kirtan, there must be lots of prasad. Here we have, let's go through. We got nice rice. These are all the only stuff I know about Krishna consciousness. Nice rice. There's a vegan subject. Krishna's not that keen on it. Vegan paneer, yeah? This one here is vegan. It's vegan. That one's the vegan. Is it? That one's the paneer. Oh, that's paneer. Oh, that's one. Krishna likes that one. He's not keen on that one. But we have it anyway. So we have lots of things. And we got the chorus are disappearing. We got the cake. The vegetables. Okay. And then we got the poppadoms. And we got... Oh, yeah. I have to go rescue Ravi. He's got a heart problem as we're all getting old. Ice cream for Krishna. And what we like the best, it's a massive tub of Shrikant. If you eat enough of this Shrikant, you can chant in your sleep. And then we got strawberries. Smiley boy. So where he go, we got that's a snake. And then back to Peter. There's Kiri Dari. I mean, we got everybody here, like in the spiritual world. So we're going to go back to a little bit more chanting before Ravi comes out. Introduce you. This is Radha Krishna Das. This is Sukanay. It's Madhavananda. It's Nanta. It's Sandy Pandy there. Man. Picture Charan on the cart. So he's a great Vaishnava, and he's always remembered all the Rathiatras because he was great service to Srila Prabhupada. And behind Jayananda, inside is Srila Prabhupada himself. And above, there's Lord Jagannath up there on the right side, and Lord Balram on the left side, and Subhadra in the middle. So this is the greatest, there's nothing better you can do this Saturday than worship Lord Jagannath by the sea and Jagannath Puri, and it's a really nice thing. The Sankar movement of Lord Chaitanya started in the house of Srivas Thakur, but then they went out and they never came back. It's a street-based movement. So today I'm supposed to be chanting, but there's lots of nicer devotees, wonderful kirtan. But, my wife, Moksa Laksmi, she was supposed to be here as well, but she's very sick, so she couldn't make it. All the virus and stuff going on. So in this Kali Yuga, it's nice that devotees come together and chant the holy names. So devotee there, Rabbi, he was being chased by the police in Czechoslovakia, and still managed to district of Victoria Dasa. So all these are wonderful devotees who've done wonderful service over the years. And I'm just a beginner. So let's go back to the
We've got 5 minutes.
5 minutes left.
Nice one, Ravi. I can't believe I know you. I thought you'd be here.
This is World
Holy Day.
Week. Guys, all over the world are going to change time. Along with the holy day from Krishna, from Jagannath, from Srila Prabhupada, from God of the devotees for a big party. So we don't chant alone in our bedroom. Won't you chant in our chant in the bedroom? Won't you chant some chant on the streets? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. It's very noisy. When I say noisy, it's very a lot of chanting going on. Our Harinam means it's all of us. So there's no me. He was never alone. He was never alone. This is Lord Chaitanya over here. This is the Jaladuta. He distributes the books, Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's here. Oh, Tribhuvanat's CD. Oh, Tribhuvanat's book. Tribhuvanat was our big hero. He was our kirtan devotee. He was traveling through Africa and so many places. He died 20 years ago. 20 years ago. But he's still our hero. So here we have Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna. This is usually in the form of the Jaladuta boat. it's taken on a new incarnation. So I can't hear anything. So I just gotta go. Hare Krishna. So it's Hare Krishna from all the devotees here. Not actually Jagannath-puri, but it's Brighton Beach. So Brighton
Thank
Beach.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
All over now, is it? No?
Oh, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful.
They're thanking you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So can we mute that side? Or thank you so much, Prabhuji. When Srila Prabhupada created a world where the entire world can live, and I can truly believe that. Imagine we were actually transported from Jagannath Puri to Britain, UK, to I'm sitting in the EST time zone in North America, and I'm going back to Maharashtra to call on the next participant. But thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful live darshan of Britain, UK, Rath Yatra. It was amazing to see there. He started with some, delicious, scrumptious, and the yummy-looking feasting part that we missed while we were talking about the Krishna Katha and the Krishna Kirtan. Of course, the feasting added to it. And at the end, he was showing us certain books. And, books reminds me of those small books. All the viewers out here who are listening out to me, there is a Hindi slang that says कि pocket में rocket है. आप लोगों ने सुना है? I'm sure each one of you have heard that pocket mein rocket hai. So the next speaker whom I'm going to invite, he has created those pocket-sized books, which are absolutely right rocket. Those are the rockets that take you to the spiritual world, that takes you to the transcendental world, not just to the outer space. And those small books are so amazing. I've read them myself. So he is the next speaker that I'm calling here or for today's session. He is somebody who is not just a spiritual author, a monk and a mentor. He has done his electronics and telecommunications engineering from Government College of Engineering, Pune. And let me tell you, just to add that trivia, that he scored 2,350 out of 2,400 in GRE, gaining a top rank in Maharashtra. But seeing the prevalent problems of stress, depression, addiction, and overall misdirection of the generation, he thought to dedicate his life to the spirituality, and of course, under aegis of ISKCON. He has traveled from Australia to America, whether you talk about the prestigious universities like Princeton, Cambridge, to companies like Intel and Microsoft. He has delivered his discourses, his sessions out there. He is the author of world's only Gita daily feature, wherein he writes 300-word inspirational reflection in a verse on a verse from Bhagavad Gita. He has written over 1,700 Gita meditations that are posted daily on www.gitadaily.com, and I'm sure you have read his articles in the Spiritual Tree, whether it was Economic Times, Times of India, or Indian Express. He is the member of ISKCON's leading intellectual body, the Shastric Advisory Council, and he's also the associate editor of ISKCON's global magazine, Back to Godhead. Well, the best part is, when I read those small books, those very small books like Adversity, Adversity or Idol Worship or Ideal Worship, OMG, I'm sure there is something that Chaitanya Charan Prabhu must be writing right now on COVID as well for all of us. If not, then we would request him to do that. On that note, all the Matajis and Prabhujis, let's hear it for our next speaker, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for being with us. All over to you to talk about how to see others' faith maturely.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for the kind introduction, Vallabhari Prabhu. So let's begin with some prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I would like to share my screen. Can you please give me that, right? And I also like to record if possible. Hare Krishna, Madhavananda Prabhu. It's an honor to see you here. Please feel free to add any comments whenever you like. In fact, you should be speaking. I should be hearing. Okay. So this is a very important topic we are discussing today of interfaith. I hope you can see my screen now. I'll be using my screen as a whiteboard, basically. So I will type some things also over here as we move forward. So our topic is how to see other faiths maturely. And here I'll start with a quote by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which demonstrates how to see other faiths maturely. And so I've highlighted what he's saying through this quote. So this is from the Chaitanya Shikshamrita. When we have occasion to be present at the place of worship of other religiousness at the time of their worship, we should stay there in a respectful mood, contemplating thus: here is being worshipped my adorable highest entity in a different form than that of mine. So there's some things important over here. There's diversity. They are worshipping in a form different from mine. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is acknowledging that. And there is a respectful acknowledgement of diversity. And this quote continues in the next slide. Then he says, due to a different practice of a different kind, I cannot thoroughly comprehend the system of theirs. But seeing it, I am feeling a greater attachment for my own system. God is one. I bow down before his emblem, as I see here, and offer my prayer to my Lord, who has adopted this different emblem, so that he may increase my love toward him in the form that is acceptable for me. So in this quote, we will see these two themes: humility toward other traditions. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is an acharya. He is, in our tradition understanding, he's an eternal liberated soul which is descended to this world. But he is saying, I cannot thoroughly comprehend the system of theirs, because it's a different practice it's of a different kind. So there is humility. We cannot just summarily judge this is bad and this is good. Humility toward other traditions. And simultaneously, what he's saying? Fidelity. Fidelity means faithfulness. He's saying, by seeing how God is so merciful that he has manifested in a different way over here to these people, I am appreciating the mercifulness of God. And therefore, my devotion to him is increasing in the form that is acceptable for me. So we will try to discuss how we can philosophically understand and practically understand and apply these three values in our life: respectful acknowledgement of diversity, humility toward other traditions, and fidelity toward our own tradition. So let's look at this now. So why is interfaith needed at all? When you're talking about interfaith, why do we need to have deep maturity with other traditions? Then what are the challenges in interfaith? And how can we, as followers of the Bhagavad Gita, as followers of the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, how can we engage in interfaith properly? So let's begin. So why is it needed? Because we are living in an increasingly interconnected world. And this interconnectedness is happening in many ways. First of all, we have global interconnectedness through trade, tourism, immigration, and now especially the internet, which acts with the traditional media and social media. So what happens because of this? Because of this, we interact with a large number of people at different times in different places. So we will have to interact with people of other faiths. And we can't live in insular bubbles. Insular bubbles means that I will live with people who share my faith. I'll not associate with anyone else. Well, it's not practically possible. Our neighbors may be different, our colleagues may be different, our co-students may be different. So we can't just deal with only people who share our faith. Or sometimes our interaction may only be preaching. That means I'm interacting with others, but only on terms that I want them to join my faith. That may not happen for many people. So we do interact with people who are not sharing our faith, but usually our interaction is for preaching to them. But what about people who are already committed to their tradition? They have no intention of changing their particular faith. How will we interact with them? We need to coexist with them, and we need to connect with them. And we need to connect individually, socially, nationally. Otherwise, there can be so many conflicts. And we may ourselves end up becoming a part of the conflict. So this is the brief first part. Why is it needed? Because we live in an interconnected world. So we need interfaith. Now, what are the challenges in interfaith? One of the biggest challenges is that every tradition claims to be the best, if not to have the fullest and final revelation of ultimate reality. And then what is the problem with every tradition claiming this way? Because there can be disagreement, there can be conflict, and not just practical conflict in terms of different traditions disagreeing, but even conceptually, intellectually, how do we make sense of it? If there's one ultimate reality, then why are various traditions so different? So now there can be many other challenges of interfaith, but from our brief perspective that we are taking today, two problems. Practically, if everyone claims to be the ultimate reality, then who is actually giving the ultimate reality? And if there is only one ultimate reality, from practice, how do I make sense intellectually of the different traditions? So now, broadly speaking, when one tradition interacts with another tradition, one religion interacts with another religion, their attitudes can range over 3 broad dimensions. They're incorrect. Now, this is, say, for example, some religious traditions say that other religions are not, leave alone ways to God. They are representations, or they are creations of Satan. They are creations of the devil to deviate people away from God. So they are completely incorrect. Another attitude might be that the other traditions, maybe they were useful at that particular time. And the third attitude is that, yeah, they contain some truth, but we contain the fullest truth. So the other traditions are incorrect, irrelevant, or incomplete. Now, again, this whole presentation that I'm doing is quite a simplified presentation because it's a complicated subject. But we are trying to get, you could say, a map of the territory before we explore the territory. So the challenges are, how do we see other traditions maturely when there are significant differences? So then we will look at how can a Gita follower do this? So for understanding this, broadly speaking, we can say that there are 3. One is exclusivism. And we can say, broadly speaking, many of the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, in their mainstream versions are exclusivist. None shall go back to the Father except through me, Jesus is attributed to have said. So like that, Muhammad is attributed, said that he is the seal of all prophets. So that's exclusivism. So the Abrahamic religions are like that. Sorry, this is pluralism. So some people say that actually we are all having different faiths. Let everybody live cohesively, tolerantly. So pluralism. That means all paths are right. Now I have positioned both of them as extremes of a pendulum. Why? Because exclusivism sounds wrong. If God is unlimited, why should the path to him be limited to only one particular path? Why should one particular religion have exclusive rights to God. That seems narrow-minded. So this can very easily lead to intolerance, wherein some people may say that our path is the only right path, your path is wrong. If you don't follow our path, you are going to go to hell. And some more extremist versions may say that not only are you going to go to hell, we will help you get there faster. So that can lead to brutal violence. So now this is exclusivism strikes us as wrong. Now, broadly speaking, in today's mainstream world, people recommend pluralism. So India is said to be a pluralist, religiously pluralist society. While pluralism sounds good, okay, you follow your path, I follow my path. So in terms of people having the right to follow their own path, that is fine, we can be pluralist. But in terms of conceptual understanding, pluralism doesn't work. Why not? Because if all paths are right, then one among all paths, if all paths are right, then one among all paths is this path also. Isn't it? If I come to a complete set of all paths, if all paths are right, then one among those all paths is the one path which says only my path is right. So if we are really going to be pluralistic, if all paths are right, then even this path should be right. But if this path is right, if only my path is right, is correct, then this can't be correct. So pluralism is logically incoherent. It doesn't function. And somebody may say, my path is atheism. Is that also right? Well, you can say that you have the free will to be atheistic. But in terms of ultimate reality, if we say atheism is also right, then all religious traditions become wrong. So we can't have it seem open-minded, it may seem tolerant. Now, in terms of socio-cultural functioning, society may be pluralist. But in terms of intellectual understanding, if you are pluralist, you say we are being open-minded. No, it's good to be open-minded, but we can't be so open-minded that our brains fall out. We can't be so open-minded that our brains fall out. So this is logically incoherent. Now the Bhagavad Gita's understanding is inclusivism. Krishna says in Gita 4.11, Mama vartamanu vartante manushya patha sarvasha. That all people are on my path. So what he's trying to say is there's one common purpose, and for that purpose, there are many paths. So that purpose includes many paths. Let's try to understand this further diagrammatically. So if we consider a metaphor of trekking, going up a mountain. So the bottom of the mountain is material consciousness. The top of the mountain is spiritual consciousness. And various traditions, they are in one sense on a common journey. They're all trying to elevate people's consciousness from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness, from materialism towards love of the ultimate reality, devotion to the ultimate reality. So this is, we could use this mountain metaphor. Now, if we understand that all souls are entangled in material existence, that's from our philosophical perspective. Others may have a different perspective, but we also still understand it. There is material consciousness, spiritual consciousness, and Prabhupada writes how all the religious teachers, prophets, they have been set within this framework of the metaphor, of this mountain metaphor. Let's move forward. So exclusivism, what does it mean? That I am going up by this path, and this is the only path up the mountain. So my way or the highway, as they say. Now, what is wrong with exclusivism? They are attached more to path than to purpose. This is the only path. Now, the purpose is to go up the mountain. There might be other ways of going up the mountain also. So if you are attached more to path than to purpose, then that makes us exclusivist. Why should there be only one way up the mountain? But if you go to the other way, to pluralism, pluralism means all paths are right. But the problem is all paths don't take us up the mountain. Some paths may take us a little up and back down. Some paths may just take a little up and keep us going around. Some paths may end 3/4 up the mountain. Some paths may end halfway up the mountain. So, and we could have even some paths go around and around the mountain. Some paths go away from the mountain into a valley also. So pluralism doesn't work from a logical perspective. So the inclusivist understanding is that there are different paths of the mountain. There's one path here, there's one path here, there's one path here. So there are different paths which all are meant to take a person to the top of the mountain. So inclusivism involves one purpose, same purpose. So same purpose means everybody wants to go to the top of the mountain. And the idea is that we are attached more to purpose than to path. More to purpose than to path. That means, okay, we are all going to the top of the mountain. Now, based on this understanding of the purpose, we see Prabhupada, when he interacted with Christians and they asked Swamiji, what are your thoughts about Jesus? Prabhupada said, he's our guru. He had so much love for God that he was ready to sacrifice his life. Anybody who has that much love for God is our guru. So Prabhupada is saying, oh, he came from a particular different tradition. He gave a slightly different conception of God. That may be true, but Prabhupada is focusing on the same purpose. So inclusivism means we understand that there may be different paths, but that doesn't mean all paths are right. We have to have some objective criteria. Is that path raising one towards spiritual consciousness? Now, how do we define spiritual consciousness? It doesn't have to necessarily mean Krishna consciousness. It can broadly mean one is seeking that which is beyond the temporary. One is seeking that which is lasting. One is developing attraction and attachment to the eternal. So that is the understanding of spiritual consciousness. So and if a person is going up a particular path, we respect them to go along that path. And Prabhupada's attitude towards people was, say, if somebody was a nominal follower of a particular religion, then I'll come to nominal followers a little later. If somebody is a committed follower of a particular religion, say somebody was a Christian pastor or a Christian priest, then Prabhupada's main focus in interacting with them was not to convert them to Krishna consciousness, but to encourage them to follow the Bible better. You talk about the commandment, especially about meat eating. And you would say that, follow that. So the idea is that rise to spiritual consciousness. If we are killing animals, then we are not rising to a spiritual consciousness. So Prabhupada acknowledged the validity of other paths and encourage, if somebody is committed to that path, Prabhupada encouraged them to follow that path. So now does this mean, okay, if this is a path up the mountain, this is a path up the mountain, there may be another path over here. Are all paths that go up the mountain the same? Then that means if we understand that various different religions, at least the major religions, have come from God, then are all of them the same? Not exactly. So we can have something called inclusive supremacy. Inclusive supremacy means what? That we accept that there are various paths and various paths can take us to the ultimate reality. But if we are following a particular path, there is something special about our tradition, our path. That's why we are following it. So what is special about our path? So if we go back to the mountain metaphor, if you go back to the mountain metaphor, some paths might be more slippery. Some paths might be more rocky. Some paths might be well constructed and easier to go up. Some paths may have nice scenery all around. Some paths may be so clear that we can have a very nice vision of what is there at the peak. So just because all paths are equal. So that means that if we are following a particular path, we have not only the full right, but also the responsibility to talk about what is special about our path. Just being we are tolerant doesn't mean that we accept that we are broad-minded, doesn't necessarily mean that we say simplistically that all paths are equal. Now we can talk about many things about the speciality of our tradition. And in this way, other followers of other traditions may also talk about what is special about their tradition. Now, how much of it is objective, how much of it is subjective, that may be a matter of debate. But broadly, I'm talking about this in terms of three things. In our tradition, you can call this as overall as Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. But what is it? We have clarity of our condition. In the various traditions about the world, across the world, because they don't accept the principles of karma and reincarnation. So why are we suffering? Why is a good God created such a discriminatory world where some child is born in poverty and some child is born in wealth? So we are souls bound by karma across various lives. So this gives a clear understanding of our condition. Now, each of these I'm not going to elaborate. I'm just giving a pointers over here. So having respect for other tradition doesn't mean that, you remember I talked about fidelity for our tradition. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that my faith, my devotion to the Lord in the form that is acceptable to me is increasing. So clarity of our condition, where are we and why are we here? Then the beauty of the destination. So we are going to see the mountain peak very clearly and we see how beautiful it is. That inspires us to go up. So for us, the destination is very vividly revealed, that the extent of the revelation of divinity, God as a person, not just as a person, but all attractive person who performs endearingly sweet pastimes. That conception of Krishna as God is an extraordinarily beautiful and sweet conception. So that is one more special facility, or you could say special feature of facility that our tradition offers. So if you want to go up the mountain, if you understand why I'm at the bottom right now, you understand that how beautiful the top of the mountain is. That inspires us to go. And then we have the accessibility of the process. That there are different traditions which may talk about the processes to different degrees, but by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have the holy name of Krishna. So currently we are celebrating the Holy Name Week, and this is a talk about that part. So this is a very, very accessible process for us. So now there are many holy names of God, but we have been given a specially potent holy name of God, the Yuga Dharma, the Maha Mantra. So accessibility of the process. This is a very accessible, relishable, universal process. So in these terms, we can always talk about the speciality of our tradition. And now, before we talk about it, we understand it, we appreciate it. So our attitude is not that other paths are wrong, or it is not that other paths, people following other paths are condemned, but rather there is something special about our tradition, and that is what we can share. Now that brings us to the next point of another aspect of our philosophy is achintya bheda bhed. So there is oneness and difference, and we need to know when to focus on the difference and when to focus on the oneness. So when we are talking with each other, when we are talking with people who are already committed to our tradition, then what do? We focus on the bheda aspect. How is this different? How is this special? And that inspires us to commit to our own tradition. See, all traditions are the same, then okay, why should I follow one particular path? So I was earlier talking about Prabhupada's attitude. Those who are committed Christians, he encouraged them to follow Christianity better. But those who were nominal Christians, Prabhupada encouraged them to practice bhakti, as given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada was not converting them. So they were, we could say from the metaphor point of view, they were just at the bottom of the mountain and they were connected with the path, but they were not going up by that path. So, okay, you are at the bottom of the mountain, come here and take this path. This is an easy path. This is an attractive path. Take it up. So in that sense, Prabhupada was not converting people in the material sense. Prabhupada was elevating people. So unfortunately, when some people convert, what they are doing is, rather than going up, let's go back to this metaphor, say rather than going up by their own path, what they are doing is, they are going round and round at the bottom of the mountain and pulling people down from whatever path they are going up by. So that is completely a waste of one's time and a waste of others' time. When we talk about Bheda, we talk about the difference. We don't have to deny the differences. We talk about them so that, okay, this is special about my path. Therefore, I will take this and I'll rise up. So we talk about the Bhed to commit the speciality of our path, to commit ourselves to our path more. And when we are going to interact with others, at that time, we may focus on abhed. We don't have to, if somebody is already committed to some other path, at that time, we don't have to go about telling them, oh, my path is superior, my path is superior. If somebody is already committed to a particular path, look at the common values. Look at what brings us together, and then we appreciate other traditions and they appreciate our tradition. So when we have interfaith conferences or interfaith meetings, we will talk about the role of the holy name. When somebody from Christian tradition, Islamic tradition, they may talk about the holy name, and we may talk about the power of sound. And then even the Buddhist tradition, they have the idea of sound being very powerful in spiritual elevation. So we focus on commonalities, and then we can appreciate other traditions also. So that way, we see the abhed. They're also on the same journey. They're also growing. When Prabhupada was in Iran, at that time, while he was talking with some disciples, he suddenly in the background, there's a mosque nearby, and from the background, the namaz prayer started. And Prabhupada closed his eyes, put his hands together, and he heard out the full namaz prayers. And then when he opened his eyes were bright. He said, wasn't that beautiful? And then one devotee asked over there, Prabhupada, wouldn't it be better if they were chanting Hare Krishna instead? And Prabhupada looked almost hurt. He said, why are you making me sectarian? No, we are worshipping God by our way, and they are worshipping God by their way. So in this case, it's already a mosque. It's a place where God is going to be worshipped. We are not going to expect people who are running a mosque to get converted, to change their faith. If you don't want to use the word conversion, so at that time, appreciate what they are doing. So focus on abhed, to inspire appreciation of other traditions. So they are worshipping God in their way. We are worshipping God in our way. Sometimes when I'm traveling abroad, if we are traveling, sometimes I forget to do Gayatri on time. But when I might say, take out take out a mat and they sit down and do namaz. So when I see how punctually they are doing the namaz, I think, I'm not that punctual in doing my Gayatri. So what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying is, seeing others doing their faith properly can inspire us. We don't have to become insecure that they are doing this. Oh, just because they are following a particular path which is different from mine doesn't make my path wrong. And I don't have to prove that their path is wrong to be secure in my path. So we should know when to focus on bhed, when to focus on abhed. And overall, the balance is, we have to balance bhed and abhed to have a real relationship. Real relationship doesn't mean simplistically saying, oh, all paths teach the same, all religions teach the same thing. Well, not really, not exactly. We can say there are some essential truths that are quite similar, but there are many significant differences. So we balance the bhed and abhed. So just to have a good relationship, we don't have to dissolve our differences. Just like two people can be friends, even when they have differences of opinion. Two people can disagree about two things, and still they can be good friends. So we can have a healthy balance of bhed and abhed, and based on that, we can be friends with people who are of other traditions. So we talked till now about how the follower of a Gita can see people from other traditions, can appreciate them. Here till now, what we talked about is broadly the tradition itself. How do we see that in a harmonious way, in a spiritually informed way? Now let's move on from looking at the tradition to interacting with specific people. That will be the last part of our talk. So we need a philosophical perspective that people's behavior we need to understand that it's not determined solely by their religious identity, but it is determined primarily by their individual mentality, And that individual mentality is shaped by the three modes. So the modes are like a non-sectarian criteria. I have a Muslim friend, and he told me something very striking. He said that I can communicate better with moderates of other traditions than extremists of my own tradition. I can communicate better. So the moderation is a characteristic of Sattva Guna. So a person Sattva Guna in a Muslim tradition and a person of Sattva Guna in a Vaishnava tradition, they can communicate better with each other than say a Muslim from Sattva Guna and a Muslim in Tamo Guna. And same we can apply to a Vaishnava who is overall having a Sattvic mentality and a Vaishnava who is having a Tamasic mentality. You know, we can all think of, even in our own tradition, there are some people we just don't get along with. Now, we don't want to say that they are in Tamoguna, but some of them may be. Of course, sometimes it may be we are in Tamoguna. We don't know. But the point is that differences don't come just because there can be differences. So the point is that the philosophical perspective is we don't see people based on their religious designation. We see them based on the modes. And this is what Krishna actually says in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 17th chapter, Arjuna asked the question, those who don't follow Shastra, that means he's referring to the Shastra given in the Vedic tradition. Yaha Shastra vidhimutsrujya vartate shraddhayanvitaha tesham nishtatuka Krishna sattvamaho rajastamaha. That they have some shraddha, but they're not following Shastra. Then what is their level? And Krishna says it depends on the modes. And then he talks about various ways in which we can understand the mode a person is in. So this framework of the modes is actually a very universal framework. So how the modes shape our interaction? When a person is in goodness, then there can be a discussion, and discussion will lead to mutual understanding. It doesn't necessarily mutual agreement because we have differences, but there will be mutual understanding will come up. That is the nature of the mode of goodness. When there is a mode of passion, then what will happen is there's a tendency to dominate. I will prove myself right. And I'll either prove myself right by intellectual superiority. If I engage in a discussion, it is simply to prove that you are wrong. So intellectual superiority or sometimes even political superiority. That means that I want to overpower you. I want to make you my slave, under my thumb. And if you go to the mode of ignorance, it is not just domination, it will be destruction of other traditions. You know, that you don't even have a right to exist. Destruction of others for one's own exclusive rule. Now, many people they associate Islam with extremism. And there is some truth to that there have been a lot of extremist violence associated with Islam. But if you look at the Christian tradition, there has been extremism associated with Christianity also, when they tried to colonize the world and what all they did. But the point is that if we look at Islamic extremism, the biggest victims of Islamic extremism have been the Muslims. So when a particular extremist faction, they disagree not only with other religions, but they disagree violently with others of their own broader religious group also. And the same can apply to other religious traditions also. Catholics and Protestants had a violent 100-year war. And we see sometimes even our own tradition, what to speak of going to other religious traditions, even two devotees from two different temples can argue vehemently. Two devotees from having two different spiritual masters can argue terribly. So what to speak of that? You know, even if there's complete commonality. Sometimes people say, if there was only one religion in the world, there are no differences like this, then we would live happily. Well, no. If tomorrow we woke up with, say, no religious differences, no nationalistic differences, no racial differences, we all belong to the same race, same country, same religion. By tomorrow afternoon, we would find some reasons, some differences to fight over. Because the fights are not because of the differences. The fights are due to our attitude toward the differences. And those attitudes are determined by our modes. So when a person is in the mode of passion or ignorance, they will find some reason or the other to fight. So So the modes, as I said, they offer a non-sectarian perspective. Now, every religion has people in goodness, passion, and ignorance. And their individual mode determines the way they practice, present, and propagate their religion. Now, it is possible that in a particular religious tradition, their leaders might be more in the modes of passion and ignorance. Then the prominent presentation of that religious tradition would be more in passion and ignorance, or their overall approach toward other religious traditions may be in the mode of passion and ignorance. But it's not so much just the content of the religious traditions as the practitioners of the tradition that will determine how people function. That's why we need to see not just this religion or that religion, these people are like this, those people like that. We need to have a broader perspective based on the modes. Otherwise, we are not seeing through Shastra Chakshu. We are not seeing through the eyes of scripture. We are seeing simply through the eyes of our own prejudices, our own biases. So I'll conclude with one last slide now, a balanced perspective. So if we want one extreme perspective, we reduce people to their group identity. Where we say that, oh, all people of this religion are intolerant, all people of this religion are violent. Or the other extreme would be reduce people to their individuality, divorced from their group identity. That people's behavior is not affected by the group they belong to at all. That's also not true. You know, if you're going to speak with a person who's from Mexico and we're going to speak with them in Hindi, and we start talking about Krishna and Radha, that's not going to work. We're not able to communicate also. So people's group identity affects who they are, but they're primarily affected by who they are as individuals. So when we interact with people, focus on people as individuals while being aware of their group identity. Okay, this person is a Buddhist, this person is a Shaivite, this person is a Muslim, this person is an atheist. But just because of their particular group identity, that doesn't mean that that alone shapes the way we behave with them. We approach people as individuals. As individuals, some people might be atheists, but they might be in the mode of goodness in terms of their functioning, in terms of their interaction with others, in terms of their overall habits. And some person might claim to be a very devout religious follower, but they might be in the mode of ignorance. So we need to focus on people as individuals. That's how we can have healthy relationships, whether it is with people of our faith or people of different faiths. So I'll summarize. I discussed broadly today 3 main points. I started with talking about the quote of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, based on which we discussed the desirable values that we want to have are respectful acknowledgement of diversity, and then humility toward other traditions. Don't just judge and condemn them, but humility toward other. I don't understand them fully. And fidelity, faithfulness toward our own tradition. And then we discussed 3 parts. Why is interfaith needed? Because we live in a multicultural world because of the interconnectedness through technology and other things. And what is the challenge? Every religion may consider that its own, it offers the full and final revelation. So what do we do? So how do we deal with that? For that, I talked about, from our tradition, 3 perspectives. First is that our tradition doesn't talk about either exclusivism, my path is the only path, or pluralism, all paths are right. It is inclusivism. There is one purpose, from the bottom of the mountain, top of the mountain, and there can be many paths up the mountain. Now, while we agree to inclusivism, there is also something called inclusivist supremacy. That means our path has some special facilities. So I talked about the clarity of our condition, the beauty of the revelation of divinity, and the accessibility of the process centered on the holy name. So we can share the specialities of our path. So depending on the context, we focus on abhed. When we focus on the abhed to inspire commitment to our own path. And when to inspire appreciation for other paths, we focus on the bhed aspect. And then I talked about, that's the broadly how we appreciate other traditions. Then while dealing with individuals, rather than reducing them to their group identity, we see them as individuals. That every tradition has people in the 3 modes, and people in goodness across traditions can interact with well with each other, and people within the same tradition, if they're in goodness and ignorance, they will not be able to interact. So we acknowledge, we are aware of people's group identity, but we focus on them as individuals and relate with them as individuals. That's how, even if we have differences, we don't have to agree over everything to be friends with each other. And that's a mature approach to interfaith. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for explaining it in such a metamorphical mountain way, where, going from the material consciousness to spiritual consciousness, and explaining those parts of exclusivity, inclusivity, and pluralism. And of course, at the end, telling us how exactly to apply the Achintya Abhed principle. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. I personally have a lot of questions to ask to you, because like I mentioned, that I'm staying here in the Western world, and I have my friends who are Muslims, and I have my friends who are Christians and who are always preaching to me. But being a gentle host, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the opportunity to the others to ask their questions first. So I have a question by Madhavi Gauri Devi Mataji, and she asked this question, that Bhagavad Gita says about Sanatan Dharma, that wherein rendering of service is the exact aim of one's life. Is the top of the mountain in all different faiths refer to the Sanatan Dharma?
Not exactly. That when we talk about the top of the mountain, there is some understanding of the fact that we are meant to serve God. We are meant to love God, and that love is based on service. So now exactly the understanding of the soul having a eternal nature of service, that specific things might not be there. As the clarity of our identity is not so much there. So the idea of service is there, no doubt, but specifically service as an innate feature of the soul, that's not there. Now St. Augustine says that, oh Father, you have made us for thee, and our hearts will find no rest till they rest in thee. So the idea is that we'll be restless, we'll be internally homeless till we find rest in God. Now, how is that rest? That is in the mood of a loving service. So we could say that the specific term is definitely not used, and the idea of a soul having an eternal feature of service, that specifically may not be there. But broad understanding that we are meant to develop a loving relationship centered on loving service to God, that is there in other traditions.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your question. Thank you so much for your answer, Prabhuji. There's another question that we have, and that is from Sham Sakha Prabhu. He's asking, on an individual basis, how do we interact, assuming we cannot just ignore them, with the persons of exclusivist or a pluralist learning?
I don't understand the question. Can you repeat it, please?
Okay.
Last
yeah,
part.
So the question is that on an individual basis, how do we interact with the persons of exclusivist or pluralist learnings, and assuming we cannot ignore them?
Okay. See, for most people, their religious tradition doesn't really make a big difference to them in terms of how we interact. In today's world, most people just want to get on with their life. And unless we try to impose our faith on them, they are not going to impose their faith on us. It's more or less like exclusivist idea or the pluralist idea is wrong. If they are ready to listen, we can talk with them. But if they're not, just let it be, because they are having their own conceptions, and everybody takes their own, everybody's on their journey, and they will evolve. So in general, it's good to test the pulse and speak some points which they may find reasonable, and then develop the discussion. But if we find ourselves hitting a stone wall, then just leave it, because not everybody will be receptive standing. So first is don't reduce people to their particular conceptions. Oh, this person is a fanatic. No, people may be ideologically exclusivist, but still functionally in today's world, they may be quite normal functioning people. Otherwise, they can't live. Somebody working in a professional setting in a social setting, they go around telling everybody else their religion is wrong. They won't be able to survive. So most people don't do that. So basically have a functional relationship, and based on the reciprocity, move further. Okay.
Oh, wait, thank you, Prabhuji. On a similar line, I have a personal question to ask here, and I take this platform an opportunity to ask you that. When we hear devotees, we have also heard as a principle that Jare dekho tahe kaho Krishna updesh. So we want to talk about Krishna to whomsoever we meet. But sometimes we meet, like, I'm staying in Canada and I met one devotee, not a devotee, I would say, a person who's just my neighbor. He is a very hardcore preacher for Christianity. He keeps inviting me to church. He keeps inviting me for his programs. And if I say something to him, I know he gives a close ear. So how should I be dealing with him in that scenario?
See, as I said, that if somebody is committed to a particular path, then there is, and if they are trying to bring us to their path, then I think we have to set boundaries in the relationship. Tell him that, I respect what you are doing, but I expect similar respect from you. I'm committed to a particular path. If you want to discuss some things, we can discuss together. But I'm not really, I'm interested. I have my own path and I'm happy with it. So if somebody wants to have a discussion, then we can always have a discussion. And we have devotees who have written books on Krishna consciousness and Christianity. There are quite, Satyaraj Prabhu, Stephen Rosen has written a couple of books. And then there are a couple of other devotees also who have written books, which can be the basis of discussions. But overall, if somebody is already committed to a particular path, then just connect with them on other things and have a relationship. If occasionally they invite us to their place and we invite them to our place. Sometime at one time I was invited to a church on the occasion of Christmas, and they asked me to speak. Now I'm not going to speak about Krishna over there. I appreciate the spirit of of Christmas and the sacrifice of Jesus, and they appreciated that. So we have to see according to Deshkala Patra. So the idea is, our purpose is, we want to elevate our consciousness, we want to go up the mountain, and we want to help others go up the mountain. So if somebody wants to come by our path, great. If somebody is on some other path, let them go by their path. So our purpose should not be to damage their faith, nor is it to let our faith be damaged. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your wonderful time to us, and telling us in such a beautiful, simple, and metamorphical way. I know next time if I am meeting any of those people around, how to deal with them, how to acknowledge them, how to have humility towards their faith, and at the same time develop the fidelity towards my own tradition. And beautifully, I am going to remember it all the time. So thank you so much for it, Prabhuji. On that note, we have our next speaker with us. And it is my delightful privilege and indeed an honor to have a next speaker. And he is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami was born in New York City, US in 1965. The same way year, the ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada came to New York. And we're celebrating that, of course, these days. We know about it. His mother's younger sister would regularly hear Srila Prabhupada's Kirtan in Tompkins Square Park in 1966. He joined the Hare Krishna movement in Ireland early in 1991. 14 years earlier, and as a music student at Arden Copland Music and Arts program in New York, he first began chanting the Hare Krishna mantra as a performer in a Broadway musical. His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj initiated Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami later in 1993, giving him the name Eklavya Das. 27 years later, the Order of Sannyas was awarded to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami, and with this venerated title, he continues to be an inspiration for many spiritual practitioners across the world. And today, on the platform of World Holy Name Day, the very second day to have Maharaj with us here is definitely our honor. So all over to you, Maharaj, and we definitely intend to give you our 100% attention and lend our undivided attention to you to hear from you. Thank you so much, Maharaj. All over to you. Hi, Krishna. Can the devotees hear me, or can they hear Maharaj? Because I cannot hear Maharaj.
We can hear you, Prabhu.
Okay.
But we cannot hear Maharaj.
All right, so Maharaj will be here with us shortly, and as he's here, he can definitely join. Till that point of time, if any devotees have, any kind of questions, then they can definitely park it for the last of the session. And I would also request the devotees to switch on their camera as a respectful mode for the Vaishnavas and for the senior devotees and the sannyasis who are coming here on this platform. So that is one request that I wanted to make here. Is Maharaj here with us?
I did see him earlier.
Okay, so please let me know when Maharaj is here. And meanwhile, I have a few questions for the audience, and I think I should be interacting with them. It's been a while that I haven't interacted with them. So I'm going to do that meanwhile Maharaj is here. So I got my amazing takeaways from today's session. My first takeaway, like when I have my chanting beads in my hand, is that this is the umbilical cord between me and my Guru Maharaj, as Madhavananda first said to me. And I got my metamorphical mountain example at Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's session today. So what are your teachings? What are your takeaways for this particular sessions? I'm going to ask. And, as a host, I'm not very kind. Let me warn everyone who's there with us today. I'm going to pick anyone and I'm going to ask them if they have something to share. They can switch on their camera. They can talk to us if they're comfortable. If not, they can share with us like that way. So Govind Charan Prabhu, the moment we have Maharaj, do let me know. Meanwhile, I want to interact with the audience. Is that fine? So Govind Charan Prabhu, that should be fine for me to go ahead.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I am here and I can see a couple of devotees in the view. Let me do the gallery view and see a few devotees who are there with us. So we have one devotee with us. I can see the camera on. I see Sadhana Mataji from Mumbai. So Sadhana Mataji, can you hear me? Mataji, you might have to unmute yourself. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. So Mataji, do you have any particular takeaways from the session so far? What is something that you're enjoying about this platform? Anything that you would want to share? Mm-hmm.
Everything I want to take away that we made. This is very nice. Prabhupada, so much effort he did for making devotees, born, everything. So I'm very blessed and what I can say.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. In fact, each one of us are counting our blessings and our fortune here to be on this platform. Can I request Jagannath Kirtan Prabhu to share something? Jagannath Kirtan Prabhu, can you unmute yourself? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Such a lovely talks going on right now. Just feeling immersed in the association of such amazing devotees. I love, and we have my daughter here. And I have to say that the Brighton Rath Yatra, how they're spreading the holy names, that was just so nice. Parsuram Prabhu, just seeing them in action was just amazing. And also this, when we were speaking about different faiths and that practical examples that we received of how to help encourage and understand the different faiths was really amazing. So it's been a fantastic program so far. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all that has joined, and to our lovely host, who is really doing a fantastic, phenomenal job. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your kind words. And I'm requesting more and more people to put on their cameras. I saw a lot of devotees were with their cameras, but the moment I said that I'm not going to be a good host, they all, put off their cameras because they don't want me to see them and ask them questions. But never mind, I can still pick a lot of devotees, and I would want to pick up now Jadurani Mataji. Are you here with us? Okay, I could see her.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Well, thank you for a wonderful program. Yesterday was also wonderful, and today also. And I didn't attend the first session, couldn't do that, but the Rath Yatra. And the one that I really liked about the one that Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was talking about was the basis of diversity in our tradition, which is the quotes from Bhakti Vinod Thakur from Chaitanya Shikshamrit. I think that is very important for each of us to understand, because Prabhupada showed by his example that Prabhu was quoting, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur documented it in his Shikshamrita, that, ultimately God is one, and we bow down to him in whatever form he is and whatever tradition he's being worshipped in, and understand him as we see him, which is the Shamsundar, Krishna form. And so that kind of really is good for each and every one of us to know, because we as the Hare Krishnas have this tendency to kind of bulldoze everyone, trying to preach or convert everyone, doesn't matter what their beliefs are. And what Prabhu was talking about, that so we need to respect where they are going. If they are committed to a relationship with God, then we can't be changing that. But if they're at the bottom of the mountain and they're not totally committed to their path, then, showing them the correct path is the way to go, or could be done. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your kind words. And so we have other devotees as well. Meanwhile, Maharaj, join us or we go to our next program. So can I have Rameshwar Naik Prabhu to share his thoughts on today's, second day of the World Holy Naam Festival?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dharan Pranam.
It is a God-given opportunity for us, such a nice speaking and talking to the devotees. And I of course, a novice to this system, but trying to learn day by day, and of course, kind courtesy of the technology also. We are able to learn on 7 weeks a day, 7 days a week. And nice to hear from all devotees. Thank you, and Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely. It is an amazing platform to give so much of the Krishna Katha and the Kirtan happening for all the days. And then I was being told by Madhavi Gauri Mataji, and she's there with us, that she said that initially, long time back, we started this as a one-day festival. And eventually we have come to this far that we can do it for so many days. So when we are talking about the glories of this festival, I definitely need to include the people who are organizing it. And one of those organizers is also Madhavi Gauri Mataji. Madhavi Gauri Mataji, Hare Krishna, can you hear me? Not on the WhatsApp, on the on the Zoom call. So since I'm based in a different time zone, I need to share it, that she gave me a call twice and it was 2:30 in the morning. And she said, I wonder why you were not picking my call. I did not know that you're in Canada right now. I thought you're still in India. So she said, there's a service for you and you're doing it tomorrow. I said, yes, Mataji, definitely I'll do it. So she's the one who engaged me in the service. Thank you, Mataji, for giving this opportunity. And Mataji, I know you have been coordinating so much and working so hard to make this festival. So I want to ask you a different question. Of course, the outcome of the festival is something all the devotees are sharing with us. They are relishing the nectar that each one of us is getting. But how is it doing the back-end service for this festival? And, I'm sure when the devotees come together and they serve, it's a beautiful feeling. And to create such an amazing platform that you have done along with other devotees, how is your overall feeling about the festival?
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Yes, the challenges are always there, but as I would like to say that the bliss is also there. And the source of bliss is, for me personally, the strength which I get to overcome all these obstacles and challenges is the love for Guru Maharaj and for Srila Prabhupada. So that keeps me moving, and it's been now almost a decade that I've been associated with World Holy Name. It started in the year 1996, and it's a pleasure that this year we are celebrating the 25th year. This is the Silver Jubilee year, and it was established in 1996 in honor of Srila Prabhupada's centennial celebrations, and it was followed by World Holy Name Week in 2008. And since then, it's an annual festival. Now we are celebrating as a 15-day event. And it's always a pleasure. It's always because this bliss which is there, which I get every year, that keeps me moving every time. So all glories to Holy Name Week, Holy Name Festival, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Definitely you get the bliss, but don't forget that you messaged me in the morning that I got a minor heart attack when you didn't pick up my call. So you get those little heart attacks as well with those bliss.
I spoke about the challenges, no? So these are the...
All right, but I think that was also a spiritual heart attack, and your heart skipped a beat chanting the names of Krishna and calling for more services. So thank you so much, Mataji, for engaging me and so many other devotees for this service. We have other devotees who are associated with us, but I would like to get the highlight of where are we moving forward, because are we going ahead with the Maharaj's session here? And we also have with us other devotees, and I was thinking if the devotees can come over and we can have a session by them. So Madhvi Gauri Mataji, do we have any indication for the next thing that we have to do? Or I have
Unfortunately, the internet connection of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaj is not working. He's there in Ujjain, and it's not working right now. And we are trying. He's also trying at his end. And we are also trying for our next participant, that is His Grace Agnideva Prabhu. So as soon as we connect with either of them, we shall be informing you. I think so in another couple of minutes, we will gain more clarity on it.
Oh, yeah, sure. I have a lot of questions to ask anyway. And we have so many audience with us, so many members with us, for those who are not showing their faces, but I'm going to be asking them to speak if they allow me to do so. So I'm going to pick up randomly now. So you have to allow me here. Can I speak to, okay, somebody who is Mangal Khandekar. Mangal Khandekar Prabhu, can you hear us? Okay, we have Dinanu Kampa Prabhu. Can you hear us? Dinanu Kampa Prabhu? I'm trying to reach out to a few devotees there and see who are available with us to talk here. Okay, we have Pankaj Patel Prabhu. He has just joined us. Pankaj Patel Prabhu, Hare Krishna, can you hear us? You'll have to unmute yourself. Pankaj Prabhu, you'll have to unmute. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Now, okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Thank you very much. I'm so delighted to be involved with this kind of thing. I'm a very solo kind of preacher here in Las Vegas for last 20 years. And I didn't have any association till recently. So I'm very much appreciative. But one thing I want to know is that, there are some traditions like Swami in Gujarat. Okay. These are, they are preaching like that, they are Krishna, but they are very envious of Lord Krishna. All right. They put somebody else like Swami above Lord Krishna. So I cannot tolerate that. All right. I'm very much against them. I cannot, be like that. Yara Dekta Hare Krishna. That is my mantra. All right. I don't talk another, I don't hear others. All right. You may call me extremist, whatever it is. All right. But I'm very much fixed and I don't want anyone to budge me from here or there. All right. So I don't want to compromise. All right. I'm fixed with Prabhupada Maharaj. I don't want to listen to anyone else. I want to listen to Radha Govind Swami, and that is what is my it is. And I feel so good about it. Okay. I've distributed so many books to XYZs. Right here in my parking lots and everywhere I go, I carry so many books. Right, and I give it to people like that. So my mantra is Yara Dek Hare Krishna. Distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. Thank you very much for giving me this time. All right.
Wonderful, wonderful, Pankaj Prabhu, for distributing those books in Las Vegas. So there are so many Hollywood celebrities residing in the Las Vegas. Did you get an opportunity to give book to any of those? You're on mute again. You're on mute again. You'll have to unmute yourself.
I don't go to the street. That's very dangerous area. Okay. I don't want to meet all those celebrities. My celebrity is Prabhupada Maharaj. And XYZ who will listen to me, listen to Prabhupada. That's my celebrity. Okay. If he says Haribol once time, I is my great celebrity. All right. So this is what my mantra is. I want to tell somebody about Lord Krishna. And if he hears, and if he says only one time Haribol, my mission is success.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. That's such a wonderful. That's a wonderful takeaway for a person like me who had been a TV presenter, and I always thought maybe these are the people who are the celebrities. But that's rightly said by Pankaj Prabhu. The true celebrities are the devotees, and anyone who chants the name of Krishna, they are the celebrities and not these so-called ones. So thank you so much for your opinion on that. Do we have any other devotee who would want to share? By now I was picking myself, but now I would want to give an opportunity. Coming in the coming days, or what was their experience yesterday, the first day of the World Holy Name? So do we have any devotees who would want to share anything? You can raise your hands. I would also request the administrator to just notice if there are any raised hands, we can take their questions, or of course we can go ahead and, I can go ahead and I speak to devotees there.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare Krishna. Mangal Khandekar Prabhu, you can speak, please.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Is it audible, Mataji?
Yes, you are audible.
Mataji, my one query is there.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I think I lost. Hare Krishna. I think I lost my connection. So yes, go ahead. I hear a devotee speaking.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My query is, like I'm a new devotee who has joined ISKCON recently. I am in this from last 1 year. So I would like to ask you, is there any sequence of reading the books of Prabhupada so that I can go sequentially? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, my network was bad and I couldn't hear your question properly or your comments.
The only question is that, is there any sequence of reading the books of Prabhupada so that I can
Not sure
correlate
if
the information in a sequential manner? Or randomly I can choose any book and I will start reading it?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Since you have newly joined,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Are you able to hear me?
Am I audible? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Madam, my question is there any sequence of reading the books of Prabhupada?
There is no sequence as such, but since you have recently joined, we recommend that you start with small books of Srila Prabhupada something like on the way to Krishna or the path
Okay,
of
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Dandvat Pranam.
I haven't. I don't know. I honestly don't.
Sri Juta Pada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And no Krishna working here. Oh, maybe this needs charging. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you. We can say something for us. We have a 15-minute left for your lecture.
Can't hear anything. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. So we have 10 minutes left, huh?
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So I'd like to first of all apologize to all the devotees. Seems through my incompetence and the technical difficulties here in India, for some reason I couldn't get on. But I'd like to just share a few words with you in the 10 minutes we have left on the Kirtan
Maharaj,
pastimes of Mahaprabhu.
Maharaj, whatever time we have got for you, we are so very humbled and we are so very delighted. And in fact, indeed, it's our honor to have you here with us today. So for all the devotees, please give me an opportunity once to introduce Maharaj, as I was talking initially as well about him. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaj was born in New York, USA in 1965, as we were talking, in the same year when Prabhupada came to New York. His mother's younger sister would regularly hear Prabhupada's Kirtan in Tompkins Square Park in 1966 at that point of time. He joined the Hare Krishna movement in Ireland early in 1991. 14 years earlier, as a music student at Aaron Copland Music and Arts Program in New York, he first began chanting the Hare Krishna mantra as a performer in a Broadway musical called Here. His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj initiated Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami later in 1993, giving him the name Eklavya Das. And 27 years later, the Order of Sannyas was awarded to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami. With this venerated title, he continues to be an inspiration for all of us and for all the spiritual practitioners across the world. And today, with whatever challenges that we got with some technical stuff, we are really happy that Maharaj is here with us, and we think that it is again blessing of Krishna that those technical glitches got over and we will be able to hear those nectar from Maharaj. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for being with us and giving us an opportunity to hear the Krishna Katha from you. So thank you so much, Maharaj. All over to you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the World Holy Name Festival and the 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada. And I'm here in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh, and we just celebrated the 76th Vyasa Puja ceremony of His Holiness Bhakti Churu Maharaj. And I'm happy to report that ISKCON is alive and well in Ujjain. And the Kirtan pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continue in this modern age. So today is also the wonderful auspicious occasion of Vaman Dwadashi and the appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami. So what an amazing, special opportunity we have to share Krishna Katha together. First, I just like to mention that Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness means chanting, dancing, and feasting. That's all we do. That's our only business. Chanting, dancing, and feasting. And where do we learn this from? We learn this from Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ajanalambita bhujo kanakavadato sankirtanaika pitaro kamalaya taksho vishvambaro dvijavaro yugadharma palo vande jagat priyakaro karuna avatar. That this Sankirtan movement, this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This was given to us by Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has beautiful lotus-like eyes, arms that are long that reach below his knees, and he and Lord Nityananda, Yuga Dharma Palo, they're the guardians of the Yuga Dharma, the Sankirtan movement. Yuga Dharma means Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva 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 Gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, there's no other way, no other way, no other way than the chanting of the holy names, the chanting of the holy names, the chanting of the holy names. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this wonderful chanting and dancing. One time, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they were chanting with their associates in Navadvip along the banks of the Ganges. As it was the season of monsoon, many rain clouds gathered and it began to thunder and storm, and the wind began to blow, and it seemed like torrents of rain would be imminent. And then all of a sudden, can you hold the phone? Thanks. All of a sudden, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his cartels and went like this. And all the clouds disappeared and the sun began to shine. And the devotees continued to chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And they were chanting and they were dancing. And sometimes Mahaprabhu would spin around so fast that he was like a whirling firebrand. And in this way, Mahaprabhu was enacting his glorious pastimes. Devotees were so happy. They were chanting and dancing, and the sweat was pouring from them. Their bodies were moist and glistening. And they, after hours and hours of chanting, they became hungry and tired. So they were dancing in a mango grove. So Mahaprabhu said, would you like something to eat? And they said, yes, yes. So Mahaprabhu took a mango seed and planted it in the ground. And when he put it in the ground, then it grew into a giant tree. And then mangoes began appearing on the tree. Hundreds of mangoes were appearing. So the devotees were in ecstasy. And Mahaprabhu was bringing those mangoes down from the tree with the devotees. And the mangoes were huge, each one the size of a basketball. And they had no skin and no seed. And Mahaprabhu distributed those mangoes to all the devotees. And the devotees honored those mangoes. They were so delicious. The mango juice was just dripping down their faces. And they became fully enlivened and fully satisfied. Everyone was satisfied fully with just one mango. So sweet, so tasty, so delicious. And then the devotees began chanting and dancing again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is ISKCON, Antarashtriya Krishna's Bhavanrit Sangha, the Sankirtan Andolan, the Sankirtan movement. It is moving, and we are continuing to move with the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. This is Srila Prabhupada's 125th anniversary, and we are looking forward to ISKCON's continued chanting and dancing and feasting for the next 10,000 years. So are you ready to get one of those juicy mangoes or one of Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON bullets, the gulab jamun? And don't forget, a bullet a day keeps Maya away. So I'm very grateful to all of you for joining for this World Holy Name Festival, our 25th anniversary. The first coordinator of this festival in 1996 was His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. And now the tradition continues. The tradition is chanting, dancing, and feasting. Or in Hindi, it is said, nachao, gao, cow. So please enjoy the rest of the festival. We have many more wonderful speakers and kirtaniyas coming up. So I'm very grateful for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. World Holy Name Festival ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, could we request you for sharing with us another pastime related to Kirtan, if possible? We were also still waiting for Agnideva Prabhu to join us. So in the meantime, if you could hear one more.
Sure. If we have some more time,
Thank you,
I'd be happy to share something. First of all, it's interesting to note that Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan pastimes began when Lord Chaitanya was still in the womb of his mother, Sachi Devi. So Lord Chaitanya, most babies are in the womb for only 9 months. But Lord Chaitanya, he was in the womb for, anyone know? 13 months. It's a long time in the womb. So Sachi Devi, she must have been chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I know if I was a mother carrying a baby in the womb for 13 months, I would be chanting. So not only that, but when Lord Chaitanya did decide to take birth, as was predicted by Nilambar Chakravarti, the father of Sachi Devi, Nilambar Chakravarti, he predicted, he was an astrologer, that this boy will be the supreme personality of Godhead, and he will take his birth at the most auspicious time when everyone is chanting. So Lord Chaitanya waited until the Falgun Purnima. And at that day, when there was a full moon, there was also Grahan, which means an eclipse. So during the eclipse, which is considered inauspicious, everyone was in the Ganges, in the Ganga, and whether they were Hindu or Muslim or whatever they were in the Ganga and they were chanting, Hari, 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 Hari. And as the tumultuous sound of thousands of people chanting Hari, Hari reverberated throughout the universe, Lord Chaitanya took birth from the womb of Sachi Devi. Haribol! Haribol! So this is the very early kirtan pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was just coming out of the womb. Also, when he was a small child, he received the name Vishvambar because it means he who maintains the universe. And that was the name given to him by Nilambar Chakravarti. And he also had the name of Nimai. They called him Nimai because he was born underneath the neem tree. And he was also called Gora Hari because his beautiful golden limbs, Gora, had a golden complexion, Gora. And Hari because Hari, he's the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. That Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna in one body together. So the ladies, they would gather at Sachi Devi's place and play with little Gaur Hari. And they would chant Hare Krishna for him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Nimai would laugh and he would clap his hands and he would bounce on the lap of these ladies. And then they would stop chanting and he would cry. And he would keep crying very loudly and nothing would stop him. They would say, please stop, take this sandesh, take these sweetmeats, be happy, don't cry. But he kept crying louder and louder. And the only thing that would stop him from crying is when they would chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So they would chant, and when they would stop, he would cry. And then again they would chant, and this would go on all day long. And these are the further kirtan pastimes of Gaur Hari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Govinda Charan Prabhu, let me know if Agnidev comes on, will you please?
Yes, Maharaj. Agnideva Prabhu is actually joining. He's started Kirtan on Facebook. So
okay, very good.
We will bring that on to Zoom.
Okay, so once again, I'd like to appreciate all the devotees for this opportunity to share the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, Kirtan pastimes with all of you. And thanks to the World Holy Name Festival Kirtan team. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are very, very blessed to have you with us here. And so animatedly, when you gave us the examples, I was actually transported to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime there and was enjoying the basketball-sized mangoes. And so thank you so much, Maharaj, for that wonderful, wonderful lecture that we had today. We definitely relished it. So now we have with us our next Kirtaniya, I would call him, speaker, I would call him, an individual who definitely inspires a lot of persons. He was born in Trinidad and Tobago. Agnidev Prabhu, as I have my next person here on this platform, joined ISKCON in 1973 in New York City. Although he had performed in bands as a youth, public Kirtan was in fact his last choice of service at first. He was afraid he would be recognized on the streets by the people he knew. I mean, now it seems pretty strange, right? If you tell somebody that doing a public Kirtan was his last choice, but yes, that is the fact. But keen to impress upon him the value of truly surrendered service, his temple president announced, well, that will be your service then. And sent him out for the Harinam Sankirtan, going out to chant for 6 hours a day. Agnidev Prabhu, then as called as Bhakti Alwan, began by just playing kartals. by the leader hearing this voice in the back of the group, asked him to sing for him when he took a break. Devotees instantly fell in love with his kirtans, and as they say, rest is the history. And we all know, and I'm glad that opportunity was given to Prabhu. Of course, that was his time to happen this way, Krishna's service, that he came, and of course, we got him, one of the most cherished, one of the most beloved kirtanias that we have, one of the most beloved person we have in our ISKCON society, initiated by Srila Prabhupada in preaching and singing in the US. He is renowned for his mellifluous Gaudiya Vaishnava Kirtana. Agnideva Prabhu sings traditional songs with multicultural accompaniment using both Eastern and Western equipments. In addition to his soul-stirring vocals, he is a master mridanga and harmonium player. I know whenever he's there, people just want to dance. They want to have the best time of the Kirtan for themselves. And today we are very blessed that we are having him live there. Thank you so much for joining us, Prabhu, here. He's live on the Facebook, and we're also going to stream that live here on the Zoom platform on the second World Holy Name Festival Day. So all over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Agnideva Prabhu, and all the devotees in the Paris there. We are definitely highly, highly thankful to you for such a melodious kirtan that you have, given us an opportunity on this platform. And all the devotees listening to you across the world are definitely so blissful and high on listening that kirtan. So thank you so much for this session. At the most, like I mentioned when we started with our session today, we had some amazing stalwart speakers today. But I think no audience, if they're not appreciated, if they're not thanked, then that event is not successful. For all the people who have joined us today, whether they're on Zoom, they're on Facebook, they're on Mayapur TV, they're on YouTube, anywhere you have joined us, we thank each one of you who is there with us till the end, from the beginning till the end, listening to us, being with us, and giving such an enthusiastic participation for this World Holy Name Festival. It's because of you audiences, it's because of you devotees that the team gets so much of gusto to bring more and more powerful speakers for you. And on that note, I have to introduce to you whom are we getting tomorrow. Tomorrow, which is the third day of the World Holy Name Festival. We have some amazing devotees who are coming to you guys, and everyone will be so happy to have them. The first, of course, we have His Grace Mahatma Prabhu. We have read his books on the chanting, and trust you me, you read one of his quotes, you read his books, or you hear to him, the next day chanting is going to be on a different level. That's my personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of devotees have experienced that. He is disciple of Srila Prabhupada. We have another disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Jamil Prabhu. He'll be also there with us, and he will be talking about Srila Prabhupada and Kirtan. Then we have Swarup Damodar Prabhu with us. He's also going to talk about, in the Learn and Evolve section, talking about the vocals. And of course, we have very, very fortunate again to have with us Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj. Jai. And he's there with us tomorrow. We'll be getting an opportunity to learn from Maharaj. And at the end, we have Gaurvani Prabhu for the Kirtans. So this is going to be the schedule for the third day. Hats off to the team of the World Holy Name Festival to bring these amazing, powerful speakers across the world. I was just seeing today, our first speaker started from Jagannath Puri. The second speaker was probably sitting out in the Brighton, UK. And the third speaker was in, I think Ujjain, Maharaj was in Ujjain. Then we had Agnideva Prabhu, who's in Paris. I'm sitting in North America. The devotees are coordinating from Mumbai, Delhi, and other places. So you have actually, like I was mentioning before, Prabhupada created a world where the whole world can live, and a place where the whole world can live, the place where all the devotees can live, cherish, enjoy the Nectarian's holy name, and celebrate the World Holy Name Festival. On that note, once again, I want to thank each and every person listening to us today on all the platforms been there with us. And we also have a thank you note for you, a special thank you note. Can we have that here, please?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Thank you, everyone. And it was a wonderful video. I noticed the devotees are humility personified, and the entire work is done by the World Holy Name Festival team. And there was just the name of the team. All the team members haven't put their name there. They're all humble devotees out there, but we have Govind Charan Prabhu here. We have Madhvi Gauri Mataji here, and so many other devotees who I know and I don't know. Sudarshan Prabhu here, probably, who's taking care of the technical team. There are many devotees whom I don't know and who are taking care of it. So thank you so much for spending your gallons of blood and making this festival an amazing day. This is just the day 2. We are expecting amazing days to come forward. So look forward to see you all there in the future days. Hare Krishna.